All right. Welcome to this Pins Down workshop, world building workshop.
Hey.
Excited for this Halloween special. I'm going to stop sharing this and I'm going to share the screen. So what I'll do is I will go over the world just briefly, and then I'll explore the prompt and then we'll start writing. And I'll put a timer for 45 minutes and go over the world, answer any questions about the world, and then go over the prompt, answer any questions, and then we'll start writing. I'm going to share it now. So this world was created by yours truly. And I partnered with also a writer from the UK, Reese. He could not be here. And this world really is a supernatural horror world where I imagined, what if the largest Hollywood studio in the year 2050 was built on top of a Hellmouth? And for those who don't know what the Hellmouth is, Hellmouth is the mouth of hell, where it's almost like a gate. So the sort of meta vision here is that there are demonic forces that have taken hold of the executives of who are in LA, and they want to bring about the end of the world. And some of the themes that I wanted to write about is the idea of meaning, and how like soul, what the soul is in people. Okay, we have one more. So welcome Shelby. So I was just saying that the supernatural world that was built here is set in the year 2050, and imagine if the largest Hollywood studio has been built on top of a Hellmouth. This is the Halloween special, and what we're going to do is I'm going to go over the world, and then I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to open it for questions, and then I'm going to read the prompt and open it for question, and we'll write for 45 minutes. 30 to 40 minutes. Let's see if we have time to share at the end. So I was just going over some of the themes that prompted this world. Is the idea of evil. For me, I've always ascribed evil as like how Hannah Arendt has described evil, is almost as if it's the framework of being a cog in a big machine, and that our habits and our behaviors is what creates that evil when we've been so conditioned. So some of the main settings, but there'll be specific settings for this specific one, is Studio A, which is the largest motion picture and television post-production facility in the world that has been built. It's a new one in 2050, over 346 acres. And also there's underground caves where hell and humans, and so there's vicious monsters there. The technology is pretty advanced as well too. There's artificial intelligence, smart cities, brain interface, AR, VR. So kind of bridging the horror and sci-fi, because I don't really see that at all in today's world. They tried to do that with, I think, I think it was Jason in the future. Let me see. I think someone's asking for the prompt. If someone can post the, okay, there you go. Okay, so so pretty much in terms of that world, you have magic does exist. There is sort of European magic. There is also high-grade magic with like high-class demons and stuff, but you won't get to interact with them. The culture is that there's 3 different types of people. There are the high society culture, which are like the studio executives, famous artists, and actors. You already have the artists and dreamers, who are sort of the worker bees, who are part of like the broader system to become like those high class society in the future. The writer, they're the ones in the production crew. And then you have like an underground magical circuit. So you have collectives of like magicians, witches, or different people. So like that, there is an awareness on that. And a lot of people across the world are attracted to Los Angeles because of this Hellmouth is there. I was deeply inspired by Buffy the Vampire Slayer. If anyone's familiar, that the high school was built on top, or Sunnydale High School was built on top of a Hellmouth. So I wanted to kind of push that idea forward and like created a more of a vibrant space. So the different groups are secret societies for sure. And the king of hell is Elias, Hollywood's executive. Not everyone is under his spell, but the executives for sure have a specific vision. And you have the creative working class. And then there's also different classes of demons. And you also have magical beings, angelic forces, Greek mythology, anthropomorphized forces as well. So some of the conflicts are supernatural horror versus human society, Studio A, workers union, film executive, life and death, and the end of the world. So those are pretty intense ones. And this is a general timeline of that world. I think I'm going to go ahead and read the prompt so you can like ask questions of specifically. And I'm going to share this link. So the prompt we'll be writing in today is, you are a member of the production crew of an upcoming movie called To Which We Belong that is being produced by Studio A and by one of the most celebrated African-American women directors and producers in Hollywood, Joan Nichols. I didn't want to use her real name. I was trying to find, I was trying to find like an actual person, but I decided against it, not to put a real person in there. But you are in one of the large sound stages at Studio A. You've heard the rumor that people have been disappearing, but the studio has kept it quiet so the news doesn't make it out. Some of you are skeptics, others are believers, and some are afraid. Working late at night, suddenly on the walkie, you hear a large scream of someone in deep pain, and it says, "It's a monster, its teeth, it's here, it's hairy and slimy." These words send shivers down everyone's spines, and you hear more screams. As people scramble to escape, the doors to the sound stages are not working. You're stuck inside and the lights have turned off. You're realizing only the flashlights and the high-tech cell phone you have works on you. Some begin to investigate and discover strange sigils and possibly that a monster might have been summoned. So I think there's two ways that you can possibly, let me just edit this and share this in the copy. So you're gonna get a slot on the chat. You can put your name anywhere on those frameworks. So I want to open it up for questions. So you can pick a character that is in the crew. That would be preferable because that's the scene. You could pick a character in the outside that is like listening in on, or maybe have a conversation, or maybe someone's streaming it live. I don't know. But I think it will be preferable if you pick a character that is part of the film crew and that sound stage. And maybe you might have magical backgrounds, or maybe you might know what this is. Maybe you might be the skeptic, or maybe you might be the one that confronts the monster and dies or something. I don't know. I'm leaving it up to your imagined interpretation, but I would like to open it up for any comments or questions in terms of the world and the prompt. I guess there isn't. This is good. Everyone seems pretty confident then.
One question, Fabrice. Any kind of like, I know you had some things up there in terms of like creatures and stuff. Is there any kind of bound on the kind of creatures we could be looking at? Like,
the idea, what I saw was almost of a wolf type. Like
okay.
A wolf type like between a wolf and a reptilian, and there's a lot of slime.
Okay.
Between a wolf and a reptilian, and it's like, so
wolf plus reptile, don't hold slime. Okay, gotcha. All right.
Sweet. So Shelby, Dwight is our resident illustrator, so he will be illustrating. So I will put a timer on for 30 minutes. So it's a flash story. So it's between 100 to 500 words. It could be 50 words, that's fine as well. But as you feel inspired, pick a slot there if you want to write and put your name next to it, and we'll dive right in. All right, I'm going to put a 30-minute timer. If you have any question, feel free to type in the chat. All right. Pins down. So
Very Halloween laugh and embrace.
this was a Halloween special. So who and feel free, Dwight, to continue, and then whenever we'll spend the next 15 minutes reading. Whoever wants to read, please, you can raise your hand, or whoever wants to. Not everyone at once.
I'm nowhere near finished, but I can go ahead and read.
Okay. Perfect.
And
Or maybe give us context on your character before.
so my character is a person who joined Hellmouth Studios. She's part of the production crew, but she is someone who is trying to accelerate her career, and she wants to become a part of Joanne's writing team. So yeah, but I'll tell you where I was going with it after I finished reading. I think I was just kind of feeling it out, kind of writing along. Let me just get there real quick. Okay. I hope that scream came from the editing of a scene. Everyone's working late, and we have to. Oh, and please pardon all of the various typos. Everyone is working late, and we have to get the studio ready for tomorrow. Maybe it's one of the senior execs messing with us. I voiced my theories to myself because everyone was so scared, and maybe I was too. But we knew what we signed up for when we came to Hellmouth. Maybe there was a monster on the loose, but we should all stay calm, mainly because monsters love fear, more than the camera crew loves cake. I told them to stop yelling, but they were too hysterical to listen. I needed to get as far away from them as possible, because if there was a monster looking for fresh, fearful bodies, this room was a smorgasbord, and I didn't want to be a part of it. If it's just a prank, I had work to do. I wanted to impress Joanne enough to get hired on her personal writing team. I had a plan worked out for tonight. I was going to rewrite a scene that she hated, turn it into something novel and smart. She liked novel and smart. I couldn't afford to be eaten or waste time being too scared and miss my opportunity. I grabbed my bag and headed for the rooftop. That's where all of the most powerful people in Hollywood met. But at night, it was where you could take in the views of LA and be inspired to write an award-winning script. I got to the elevator without being seen by any of those banshees. The elevator was already open, which was strange, but it worked, and that's all that mattered. When the doors opened, I saw Joanne standing there. I called out to her and asked what she was still doing there. I thought she left hours earlier. She didn't respond and kept looking down at her hands. I called her name 3 times to get her attention, but she didn't respond. She didn't even blink. That got me. Something's definitely off, and I needed to get out of this place. I pressed a button to the basement and the door closed, but Joanne and door closed. But Joanne placed her hand in between the elevator doors and stepped in, all while never taking her eyes off me. Jane, right? She asked as she stood in between me and the buttons. Right, I said, trying to breathe calmly to erase the mounting fear in me. Sorry if I startled you. I'm working late tonight. After all, this is my production, and I want it to be authentic and good. You know what I mean? I nodded, unsure if my voice still worked. What floor? She asked, her eyes now locked onto mine. I'm heading home, basement. No, Jane, you're not heading home. You're going to my office. You want to join the writing team, right? Well, Jane, we work all night and stay up all day. If we're going to the writer's room. That's why I came to the roof. I wanted to get inspired. She turned her back to me and pressed the button. Okay, so here is the part where she presses the button, she turns her back to her, and she notices that she has a gaping wound on her back, but it's not bleeding. And I guess I don't know where I was going to go from there, but at some point, I think maybe Jane either gets eaten and becomes like a permanent part of the writers team. Like she wanted, but then she also like becomes like a ghost slash monster. But she gets to be on the writing team. So it's a win. Well, somewhat. She's dead, but you know, she got the job.
Hollywood, that's all that counts, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is good. I like that. I like the weaving in of the world building, the weaving in of the world. That's fantastic. Thank you, Marsha.
I'll try to go in and edit it and finish it up for you this week.
Cool. Anyone else?
I'll go.
All right.
Just mine's a quick one. A couple of young dudes who work on the crew. They're just crew. You know more about that than I would, but just a couple of young guys who have their night suddenly interrupted. So, starts out, yo, essay. Roberto turned without stopping, his ambling stride across the studio towards the dark corner and gave Joe a quick glance. What's up, Pen Blanco? Breaking into a quick jog, Joe caught up to him. Did you hear about Danielle? Roberto paused by the door, eyes narrowing in his round face. Someone's here? Joe caught up to him. You got some weed? Yeah, he handed over his vape pen. What'd you hear? Joe ducked behind a massive crate in the dark corner of the sprawling sound studio and took a furtive toke, exhaling, a smile growing across his face. I heard you got kidnappers. Kidnapped? What the? Kidnapped? Man, where'd you hear that? From Manny the Grip. He said he'd heard it from a cousin of his who's a cop. Roberto took the vape pen back and toked. This place is no good, man. Seriously. Something up around here. What about Tucker? Joe glanced over his shoulder. Dead, bro. Dead? Yo, essay. Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. That's I copied it back in. Dead, man. What the F? This from Manny too? Dude, I swear that guy's a toker. Nah, this from Raquel. She said she heard it on the news. A body found out by the Salton Sea. So, could have been anybody. With a tattoo, Joe paused for effect. Let's take God. Roberto deflated, shaking his head. God damn, we got to get the F out of here, bro. Seriously. I need the money. I got to get my tuition together. I can't be quitting. The scream broke out. You stared at each other for a quick second before launching themselves at the door. Roberto grabbed the handle with his beefy grip. Another scream, then shouting. Open it, man, Joe hissed. Can't, it won't open. Get the F out of there. He pushed him away and grabbed the handle, twisted it, budge. Lights went out, plunging them into darkness. F this shit, Joe shouted, slamming his thin shoulder into the door to no avail. Get out of there, you person. Roberto pushed him aside and pounded his bulk against the steel door. Joe heard him breathing hard. Dude, what the F is going on? Another scream. It's here, someone shouted. What the F is here, roared Roberto. Movement all around them. Panic screams as interns and PAs and grips and electricians and caterer stumbled in terror through the darkness. Joe gripped his hair tightly and tried to breathe. Is this really happening? Was he just paranoid? That's it. It's not real. Of course, just a power outage. Yo, Pen Blanco. Yeah? You hear that? Joe listened. A sound resonated above the panic cries, a low rumbling like a distant locomotive. What is that? Holy shit. What the? Two red orbs appeared, glowing high above them, floating in the darkness, 100 feet in the air. Joe squinted. Are those eyes? I don't know, man. Roberto hissed and then slammed against the door again. The twin orbs turned towards them. Stop it, asshole, Joe whispered. Joe's whisper sounded it to his own ears like a screeching little girl. It sees us. And that's it. No resolution. Sorry.
I like it. I really do. It's so like grounded, like in a way of like, it's very grounded in terms of the you have such a good way of like the conversation, the back and forth. It's surreal. I really like it.
Cool, man.
Any other comments or thoughts before we move on to Sam?
I think it stopped at exactly the right point. It was like a perfect sort of like like set up, and like it could go anywhere from there. But that was like it timed out just right.
I'll leave it to somebody else to finish the monster setting.
I liked it too. All right, Sam.
Alrighty, so mine was a little different. Instead of doing conventional story, I thought I'd do something different. Anyways, quiet on set, dead quiet. I haven't heard anything for the past 10 minutes. I've tried calling for help over the walkie, but all I get is static now. Of course, my phone stopped working. Damn updates. This is what I get for getting a cheap phone. The only app that seems to work is the Studio A production chat. Hopefully someone will see this and send help. I have no idea what it was. The house lights are out. All I see are shadows. Last voice I heard was talking about symbols on the doors. I tried getting into the control room, but it's locked tight. I heard voices inside calling shots as if we were still rolling. There's so much blood. I need to get the fuck out of here. If anyone is reading this, I'm on stage 89 in storage closet E5. Please help me. I think the thing is still out there. And then it all garbled up and it says red at 21:35 or 7.
Nice. I love that. I really like that. It's a thing from a phone. I really like that.
It's a text.
So it's basically a post in the production chat. So basically the guy's phone isn't working at all. The only way he's able to communicate is through the Studio A production chat, which is controlled by the studio.
Cool.
And so it kind of was like showing that basically like somebody was monitoring the whole chat, and that the second he gave up his location, they got him basically.
Nice.
I like that. I'll go next. This is great. Thank you, Sam. Okay. So this is to give you a background, this is the story of, I guess I'll just dive in. This was Luke's dream. This was the dream internship everyone in class wanted and had applied to work on set with the top director, John Nichols, an avant-garde artist who directed films such as To Win Is to Love, Benter, The Black Irish, Changeling My Hopes, and so much more. It gained her an Oscar, the first Black woman to win this many Oscars. Luke was a Black film student at USC. Luke Georges, the professor Reese says, calling in front of the classroom of 200 students as he was selected for the golden internship at Studio A to work on To Which We Belong. Now he was in a corner with his feet against his chest, sweating in deep fear, rocking back and forth, wondering if he was going to make it out alive. He texted his mother, "Mom, I heard screams. It sounded like a demon," he texted. His mom had roots in New Orleans and knew too well the underworld that existed in this society. Dring, 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 his phone rang while being surrounded by camera, ladders, and film equipment, everyone around him and this large crew. "Mama, is that you? My little Lucas, what's wrong, boy? We're stuck here. There's this beast. I heard its voice. Someone died. Someone's dead," Lucas says with his voice trembling. "Do you have that rosary I told you to carry?" "No, Mama, it's at home. I left it at home. I don't know if I'm going to make it. This place, I've heard stories, but never knew it was real." Someone from the inside comes in. "Luke, is that you?" "Ah," he says, startled, and drops the phone. "Lucas, Lucas." You could hear his mother's voice on the phone. As he bends down to grab the phone, a large scream is heard, and it's not human. "Luke, let's go." The others, they've gathered inside the left corner. Then a large metal thrown from the side he doesn't have time. A large metal was thrown from the side and he doesn't have time to grab the device. Regine runs in the direction towards the east of the stage and Luke follows them. Luke trips on the floor, and as Regine places their flashlight in there, and they see blood everywhere in the body of what appears to be Joan Nichols. They both scream as their bloody footprints follow them into space. Regine knocks on the door and Luke is behind him. "Let us in. It's me, Regine and Lucas." A group of them had to find refuge in the set design compartment of a built-out office building created inside the sound stages. It was a set to be a scene in the film. The door opens and inside a group of 20 people from the crew hidden there in circles. "I called the police. They're on their way." "What about the lot security?" "Nothing. They've tried to come in, but it's sealed. It's completely sealed." Anyone seen the weird symbols on the back of the stage? I've studied the old runic symbols, and one of them says sacrifice. This can't be happening, Lucas says. Everyone turned around and a sharp silence rose with sweat from their forehead and disgruntled, tired eyes from the late night. All right. Any
What
thoughts?
happens next?
Oh,
He was hanging there, man.
thank you. I had a blast. This was fun. Anyone else wants to read? You don't have to read, but
I'll share.
all right.
I feel like I was only just about to get to the action, so it's mostly set up, but all right. Nobody was gonna fool Gabriel. They'd heard of hazing rituals like this. The older folks on set, the ones who'd been working on this director's films for years, the ones who were union, they like to rile up the new kids, scare them half to death in the dark, and then bam, turn on the floodlights and laugh and laugh and laugh. That wasn't going to happen to Gabriel, no sir. They'd grown up with brothers. They knew how it went. This one's locked too, came Zoe's voice from behind them. She was one of the other new crew members, and she was already on the verge of freaking out. The lights had only been out on the soundstage for what, 60 seconds? Another scream came from Gabriel's walkie-talkie. You'd think that such an elite crew would come up with more realistic sound effects, they said. They sound pretty realistic to me, Zoe said, her voice now right next to Gabriel. We need to get out of here. They're not going to let us out until they're bored, Gabriel said. Let's just sit and chill and listen to some music. They reached around them for a stage chair, their hands finding nothing. They hesitated to use their phone because they'd forgotten to charge it the night before, but decided it was worth using some battery to get comfortable for what would hopefully only be 15 minutes. They pulled the phone from their back pocket and turned on the light. You've had that light this whole time, Zoe said, almost yelling. Gabriel turned the light on her. Her eyes were wide, and after glaring at him for a split second, she looked side to side as if expecting a monster to jump out of the shadows. This whole 2 minutes, yes. They turned the light around them to search for a chair. Nothing. But then again, they were behind the set, near the back door where no one would be sitting. Gabriel walked around the wall to the set, which was supposed to be a living room. It held a plush red sofa, and the latest release of the VR helmet sat on the coffee table, as if waiting just for Gabriel. Yes, this was going to be just fine. They let themselves fall on the couch and get comfortable. They flashed the light around to get settled and noticed something odd. On the wall was some sort of drawing. Gabriel stepped closer. It looked almost like a compass, but instead of north, west, south, and east, there were what could have been Greek letters, and of course, it looked like they were drawn in blood. Man, union types had way too much time on their hands.
This is
Union
good.
types.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I really like it.
That was
Shelby,
fun.
I think that you and I met maybe a couple of years ago when things were in person.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we wrote together.
Yeah, that was super fun.
Yeah. Fabrice, that was I think it was Penn's.
Yeah, it was Pen America.
Yeah. Mhm.
Syllable, not a syllable. That was a really great night before COVID came and swept. us.
Right. It was
Yeah, like just
right
weeks
before
before.
COVID. Who knew?
Well, good to see you again. This is good. Very, very good. Yeah, I love everything that I've heard so far. So any other comments before we move on to the next person? I don't know if Bryn, you want to read yours or
Sure.
Bobby?
I feel like, I listened to Fabrice and I listened to Shelby and I was like, I think I took the elements of both of yours and painted it on here because I have an intern who's like, yeah, this is just a joke. And so, yeah, you go with that. To which we belong in fancy letters is plastered on the alley wall of Studio A. Salvatore puffed out a cold plume of mist. 20 minutes break. As an intern, he was just eager to get back to work. Meet us out in the alley, they had said. It's where we always meet for breaks. He plunged his hands into the pocket of his hoodie. Ha ha, very funny. Joke on the new intern. Others in the film crew had told him this was the place the last 3 interns before him went missing. Probably just a story to scare the intern. Typical. The alleyway cast sidelong shadows across the trash bags with what he hoped were stage bones poking out of them. A trash bin oozed right below the movie title. It spread out across the pavement, working its way to his toes. It was a clever trick, really. He laughed. Okay. Whatever you got in that trash bin, you got me. I'm scared. He walked over, flipping the lid. 2 red eyes stared back at him. It had the head of a wolf and the scales of a lizard. He slammed the lid back down. The wolf lizard reached out, hooking its claws through his calf muscle. Not a joke! Not a joke! The beast leaped out from the trash bin and clamped its teeth down on his neck.
I think we may all be a bit skeptical. Yeah, very cool.
This is great. I totally agree. Wow. Any comments, thoughts? I wanna scroll down to Dwight's epic illustration, which I posted here. He made, where is it? On this call. This is the wolf lizard. This is extremely beautiful. I feel like we all wrote like the beginning parts of a large epic, of like something that could. So this is a sneak preview of Pins Down. Usually it's 3 months and then people come in and you write, but this was awesome. Thank you so much for coming here. And yeah, in 30 minutes we'll hear from the Caribbean Sky Island writers and creators. So that will be in 30 minutes. And then thereafter, we'll hear from the latest Pins Down, which is War Sodar, from the writers. And we'll have a conversation about process, craft, storytelling. So we have 2 more sessions today. And we'll start back tomorrow for the final day. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for
Beautiful work again, Dwight.
Thanks.
Yeah, amazing work. Yeah. I think I'm going to close off this thing and then I will turn it on 5 minutes before 11, at least 11 my time.